Is AI going to take over all the media that we love? Okay, that's a relatively intense start to the video, but I kind of wanted to just drop that in here. What's going on, guys? My name's Nathaniel. I'm one of the hosts here at the Rollsicle channel. I am joined distantly by my lovely co-host, Ashley. She's sorting magic cards for us and being super awesome. And she did record the gameplay in the background for you guys here, so don't come at her. If you hate on her, you hate on me, and I will come in and get you. But anyways, she did great, actually, and you guys can see that as this video goes on. So the reason we're wanting to talk about this video today is because Disney recently posted and put out that they have come to an agreement with OpenAI to support them with $1 billion, I believe it is, of support, with the agreement that OpenAI gets the right to their IP and is able to make content with their IP and will, going forward, be developing some fan-requested content that will actually be going as far as making its way to Disney Plus and being streamable on the streaming service. We don't know the details yet on how much of that AI generation versus human generation is going to be used there. We don't know, are they going to be voicing everything? They're obviously going to be designing it. Are the plots going to be written by the AI? We don't know the details of everything yet, but we do know that AI generated content is going to be coming to Disney Plus through Sora AI, or whatever you want to call it, the Chat GPT, yada, yada, stuff like that. Okay. So the reason I wanted to make this video is because we kind of knew this was coming. We knew that AI takeover, or whatever you want to call it, was, on its way, that this was somewhat of an inevitable. But I wanted to talk about and make a video about what I think its effect on media is going to be in general, how I think in a lot of ways it's ruining media. I do think there are ways that it can actually improve upon and build on media. And I just wanted to get those thoughts out there. Again, enjoy some potato in the background from Ashley and give her some love down in the comments below for her wonderful gameplay. Okay, so let's talk about it. So, I mentioned Brotato. I think this is a great example. See, this is a small indie game we've had a lot of fun with recently. We've been working through the backlog, and this is one of the games that was on there, and we really enjoyed it. And this is the type of thing that it's a very simple game. AI would effectively be able to generate something like this probably in the matter of, I'm not a specialist, but I'd say probably no more than a couple days is what it would take to make something like this. And yet, this game is very worthy of the money that we spent on it, but that's because actual people created it, actual people came up with it, people came up with the different, mechanics and things like that. And of course, it is human approved in the sense that, everything in it makes sense. There's no weapons in it that are in weird categories. All the art looks good. And of course, when you AI generate things, you can have a human touch-up artist, you can have quality control testers, that sort of thing. But I think this is actually a great example of a game that isn't that far off of something that could be AI generated. And I'm not really in love with the idea of that because I feel like we're just going to be flooded with a ton of games. Games that are taking a day or two to make, maybe a little longer than that, a week or something like that. And it's just going to be really sloppy garbage, right? Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe this thing's going to be phenomenal, but it doesn't necessarily seem very likely. But from a business perspective, I also don't blame the businesses, right? Why spend so much money on hiring employees, on hiring a team, on creating a plot, on hiring all the artists, on making all the art, et cetera, when you could pay whatever the upfront cost is to use the AI capabilities and just have AI do that for you. And it's, once it reaches a point where it's almost indistinguishable, why as a company am I going to pay a premium for the tiny bit of distinguishable? That doesn't exactly make a whole lot of sense. Ashley's looking at me really weird now, and I'm not 100% sure why. Okay, anyways, you're going back there to eat? Yeah, okay. She's eating chips, and she doesn't want to interrupt the video, so we appreciate you, my love. You are the greatest. Anyways, so this is something that has been very near and dear to my heart for a while because, the AI takeover is kind of inevitable. And I'm not just a pessimist when it comes to it. I do think that there are things in the gaming space that could benefit from AI. It's just important that we view it and see it in such a place, right? Now, when you look at something like Disney Plus, I'm not a big watcher of shows, but I don't necessarily love the idea that shows might be completely curated, developed, plot written, and, designed and illustrated and all those things by AI exclusively. That doesn't exactly sound good. And from what we've seen, it's probably not going to be the most quality content. When it comes to voice acting, we've seen that, AI voice acting is only so good right now. And it definitely requires certain inputs and a lot of feed. And people talk about the kind of slopification of AI, where when AI starts putting enough stuff out that the other AI grabs that AI stuff, it's kind of like copying something 1,000 times over. Eventually it starts getting really blurry and it's not really a crisp or clean image anymore. And I do think all of that is like major concern. We should genuinely be concerned about that sort of thing. However, I also think, like I said, we need to take a step back. We need to realize that from a company's perspective, they're going to do what makes their business the most money, right? So if they save a ton of money making product like this, and then people are still buying it, let's say they save 10 times as much money and only half the people don't buy it, well, they profited off of that in terms of how much it cost them to develop something and in terms of how much, margin they made. That's still going to be a good thing for them. So from a consumer's perspective, we need to be very careful in what we're actually purchasing. We need to be very careful in what we're actually clicking on. And I think it's important to go ahead and be talking about the places where we actually want to see AI in video games, in media, that sort of thing, before we let AI take over and become the things that we don't want it to become. So what exactly do I mean by that? I think that there are a lot of ways that AI can actually benefit video games. I do think, and I am not an artist, that when it comes to concept art or building out certain art for video games, AI is certainly not something that I would shy away from. I don't think that it is what you should use for your art in your video games, period, TV shows, anything like that. However, if you're using it as a tool that simply gives inspiration to creators, I don't necessarily see how that's a bad thing. They can take an image that they drew some inspiration from. They see one singular enemy on that and then go and create an entire game that feels completely different than that enemy, but they drew something from it. The way that the body shape was, the way that the types of weapons that who knows what it is that they would be able to draw from that and decide, oh, that's how we want to theme our game. And we see that all the time, drawing inspiration from arts and design and things like that, not in the AI space, right? There's plenty of people that go, okay, I want to make a TCG or a card game or a collectum game about cute animals. I'm going to theme that after Pokemon. If you straight up just copy Pokemon, it's not going to be good, but we see a lot of games out there that ride that line. Okay, I'm not saying that every game should be riding that line. I definitely think that, ingenuitive new ideas are a good thing, but at the end of the day, you really have to learn that there are only so many new stories, there are only so many new ideas. Most of what we're doing is an inspiration of what we've seen, what we've grown up on, what we've liked, and that sort of thing. So, you can always add your own creative flair. Things can be unique without being entirely unique, without being completely uninspired by other things. And ultimately, I think that's where AI sits in that space as well. They can be used as inspiration. They can be used as tools to help inspire and generate things that do help and inspire, but they should not be used solely for generation, implementation, and call that done, right? I genuinely think that AI actually sees its most beneficial place in accomplishing things that previously we were unable to do. If we can reach the point where AI can actively adapt the video game or the media, whatever it is, movie, TV show, but video games is where my brain goes, as the player goes along. So what do I mean by this? I'm coming from a TTRPG perspective. I'm coming from a perspective where the reason I love TTRPGs so much is because the limit of a TTRPG is truly the creativity of the Dungeon Master. And human creativity expands far beyond anything that one video game could encompass, far beyond anything that one digital universe could encompass, far beyond anything that one book series could encompass, etc., right? You are always able to do whatever you want as long as the creativity of your Dungeon Master, your Game Master, whatever it is able to play within that realm of creativity. And if you have a really good Dungeon Master, or if you have a fun group of friends that wants to sit around and say, yeah, we're going to do some crazy things sometimes, the expanse of what you're doing is very impressive. And it is unmatched in any other medium. That is why I love TTRPGs so much. And theoretically, one day you would want video games to get to that point. But you really can't, because video games and other sorts of media have to be programmed or written with certain limitations. You can do the things that are programmed or written in the video game, or you can accomplish the things, or you read about the things that are in the book, movie, whatever it is. And that's it. Like, that's what was made. So that's what you have to work with. You don't have the adaptive creative mind of a game master. But AI could be able to step into places like that. Now, what do I think this would actually look like in terms of video games? Recently, and I don't have footage of this right now, but recently I've been playing a game called Mutant Football League. I know it's funny and stupid, but I really like the game a lot. Stay tuned. We're probably going to make a video on it pretty soon because I really had a blast playing that game. And it recently got a sequel. Now, Mutant Football League, for all intents and purposes, is basically just a silly slapstick, M-rated, mutants are playing football, and it's extremely deadly game. And it's structured a lot like Madden or any other sports game where, you're running plays, you're simulating games, you're playing seasons, and there are announcers in the seasons, okay? There are announcers while the games are happening. And one of the things that I was talking to Ashley about is that is the exact place where I think AI implementation could actually see the light of day. Let's say we get AI implementation to the point where it is voice acting. I'm not saying that it should be, but let's just say that it is. Or at the very least, you pay a voice actor to read a whole bunch of lines, and then it can use that database of lines to create more lines. Okay, sure, that's not as good as just having a voice actor that's being paid, but it is at least still including a human element into the game. Well, now, when I play Mutant Football League, something can happen. The game has to pick from a very pre-written script of options for what the announcers can say. So you hear a lot of the same things a lot. You hear a lot of the same lines, such as, "Oh, and he's down just before the goal line." Great, I got tackled just before the goal line. It's pretty fitting. But if they had an AI that was able to write what the announcers were going to say, given the scenario of any situation, they could specifically be much more realistic in what an actual announcer would say, which is this character, let's say Josh Jacobs, right? Or I think is the name of the Josh Jacobs version in the game. Josh Jacobs goes down just shy of the goal line at the 2. They're going into 4th down here. Let's see what they're going to do. Should they kick? I'm not 100% sure because right now their points are sitting at blank. They're sitting at 4 points down. Mutant Football League gets weird. And a kick isn't going to get them above. Well, that is such a specific line that you would never be able to have a voice actor actually record that line. However, if we get to the point where AI implementation can basically create more realistic scenarios where it is reacting to the given situation of a game, you have now created something using AI as a tool that was not possible before. And I think that direction is where I want to see AI going in terms of the media space. I don't want to see shows that exist entirely from AI's perspective. I don't want to see books that are written just by an AI and just thrown out on the shelves. I don't want to see video games that are sloppily thrown together by AI and released every other week because they can churn them out like nobody's business. I want to see TV shows, movies, video games that are taking AI as a tool and using it to accomplish things, like I said, that are reactive to the given situations within the media that they could not do before because they had to be pre-written, and AI can write and adapt on the spot, right? I can give AI a descriptor of what's happening in the football game and say, create a commentary for what's happening. And it will create a commentator's commentary for what's happening. And if you program that into your video game, eventually, we're not there yet, right? But eventually that would unlock a world where the Madden announcers, the MLB announcers, the FIFA announcers, all of them are able to accurately assess and announce what's happening in the game, give their thoughts on what's happening in the game, and it be specific to the situations that are happening. That's a true innovation in the video game world. Following that up, you could see games where NPCs actually react to the specifics that you've done. It's not 10 different lines they have to choose from, which one fits best. They can talk about exactly what you did, exactly when you did it, exactly what you said, how you said it, etc. And the more that we use AI towards that, the more we see the line that has separated TTRPGs for me from any other medium begin to get blurred, because AI in its truest form can be the always able to react and adapt to what you're doing creative mind of a game master or dungeon master. It's going to take a long time, and I think it's very important that we are careful as we take those steps in that direction. But I would love to see the medium expand into things that weren't possible before AI, using AI to make those things possible, using AI as a tool to do something that it's never done before and to create experiences we've never had before, rather than see it just throw out a bunch of AI generated slop where they say AI is now the best way to do what we did before 10 times easier and hopefully profit 5 times as much. Because yes, there'll be people that don't enjoy it as much. Yes, it will be slightly lower quality, sometimes significantly lower quality, but even if they can get it to the point where it truly is only a little bit worse, they will take a little bit worse for significantly less cost. And I want to make sure that as a community, we encourage them, no, use this as a tool to push the medium further. Push the games, the TV shows, the movies, the other sources of media that we are getting, push them further into things we've never been able to experience before, because truly AI is that. It is an innovation, and it is so close to changing the medium forever in a good way, but it is so easy to let greed and laziness, honestly, shape the medium in a bad way as AI just takes over the jobs of everybody, makes things cheaper for these bigger corporations, and we watch the quality decline as a result because they don't want to innovate and push for anything great. They want to lazily sit back, make slop out of the AI that people will begrudgingly accept, and just let the money rake in. And that's my biggest concern. So as we see Disney move forward with this deal, I want to make sure that we are careful, that we are being extremely careful in what we consume, what we support, because I don't want to support just this 7 seasons of this show being made every, 7 seasons coming out one a month for 7 months straight because it can just be churned out by the AI generator. I would rather see the medium challenge themselves to innovate and do something new with this new tool that they have unlocked. That's really all I have to say. So let's keep an eye out. We'll do an update video if anything crazy goes down. Again, AI's kind of been around for a while now. AI is going to continue to be around for the foreseeable future. There's obviously a lot of ups and downs to it, but at the end of the day, we can't really avoid the fact that it's here. So let's try to encourage it to be used in innovative, creative, and fun new ways. Thank you guys for all the love and support. You guys have been super awesome. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe if you've enjoyed watching this, and we'll see you guys in whatever comes next. Until then, may those rolls be ever in your favor. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye, y'all.